I wanted to come back on today to you to let's talk a little bit about the topic that I picked today was about thoughts and obstacles. You know, and it is so important when we think about the obstacles that come our way, right? And the idea that hands down, every one of us, like every time we deal with obstacles on a daily basis, right? Every day we have some kind of obstacle that comes in our way. And but I wanted the reason why I thought I put thoughts and obstacles, because the biggest obstacle in my life, and I'm sure for you and some of you, is the obstacle that is between our ears. Like our own mind can hinder us in so many ways. And that discouraging voice that comes into our head when we are trying to do something, and we get stuck thinking about why we can't achieve what we need to achieve. We get stuck in thinking why we can't go over our goals. And as we move forward, I don't know about you, but it gets louder and louder. And when we bring that, when it gets louder, it's almost like we start seeing other people doing things that we want to do. So then not only we have this negative voice, we already have an obstacle because we may have something that we can't see how we're going to get there. But then we especially in our world today, there's so many visuals that we then fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to other people. And often we dwell on, look what they have. I have not accomplished that yet. I think, that I can't do it. And very often for me is that then what happens is I push myself so hard, and then I push myself so hard. And instead of I taking a step back, taking a breath, this is what I used to do in the past. I was push myself so hard, not realizing that sometimes the more you push, the harder you push, you're actually pushing against an obstacle that is, because the more you push, the more louder the voice comes, the comparison comes, and then it works against us. And one of the things that I want to suggest is there's two sides to that story. When I was growing up, I remember being child number 13 of 14. Let me tell you that ain't nobody had time for me to be over there encouraging and pepping me up and stuff like that. So for me, there was never really anyone to push me. When I got to a certain age, my dad died, and he used to push my older brother and sister to get better grades, to do the things that they want to do. And, he would like make sure that they had extra lessons if they needed. So he would push them to do. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. He pushed them, so they went ahead and they got pushed. And whether it was encouraging push or not, but they got pushed to do better. Then my dad died. And when he died, there was like this vortex, because even though I still had my mom, they were already separated. And she was on doing her life. She pretty much grew up all her kids because we were with our dad, me and my little brother. And so when he died, my other sisters, they were older, they were doing their thing. And I felt that it was just me. My younger brother was a few years younger than me. So what happened was he went to stay with my mom, and like Misha was a teenager. So pretty much it was like, I saw it as go fend for yourself. And there was nobody to push me. There was nobody to encourage me. So now when I get into situations where obstacles come, what I had learned to do was just to look around, right? And my younger brother, he got pushed. Like my sisters were on him. He went to stay with my sister and she pushed him and make sure that he did what he was supposed to do. And some of you may have had that. And to the point where you got pushed to so much that now when you have an obstacle, you really don't want to push against it because it brings back feelings of, I don't want that, anymore. I don't want to push myself. And that causes delay on both ends. So either you don't push yourself because you never had the opportunity to be pushed, or because you had the opportunity to be pushed, you're like, I don't want that in my life. So it causes the delay and it causes us to focus. And then what happens is we see other people. So then we get into this loop, this comparison loop. Oh, I can't do that. I don't want to be pushed. But then you see other people. So you fall into this comparison loop. You lose focus. There's delay. Then you lose focus again and then delay. So I want to let you know that if you're one of these people that was guilted into, or they had an atmosphere created where you created overwhelm in your life, know that you can change these patterns. These patterns are taught because it's the programming. It is actually a paradigm that is formed in your mind, and it's actually embedded in in the subconscious mind. So when we react, when we behave in a certain way, this is what we're reacting to. When we dwell on the delays, we dwell on the obstacles, it's just because our subconscious mind, I just find this fascinating, guys, is because the subconscious mind recognizes that as fact, as this is how we behave. Now, intellectually, you're like, this is not what I want. This is not how I think. So then you focus on the obstacles. But then when you focus on the obstacles and the delays, this is something that you've already always done in the past. And so what happens? Your subconscious mind goes, oh, I recognize this behavior. So this is the action that we're going to take. We are going to take overwhelm. We're going to stop what we're doing. And it is what happens when the part of your brain develop those habits, those paradigms. Is actually behaviors that but with that said, you can change those behaviors, right? Those behaviors remain the same. And it's just like forming a habit. And any habit can be changed. I want to let you know that. I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Michelle, at my age, this is just who I am. No, any habit that you don't like can be changed. So at this point, I'm guessing that you might be saying, yes, that's me. I've been trying to change. And sometimes I do the best that I can, but most times I fall back into this pattern where I start having this comparison, the negative thinking, and I have delays that then it's a vicious circle, right? Many, many years over, you've been doing the same thing. As I said, a habit is a program that is in your brain. And just like any program on your computer, on your phone, anything like that, it can be rewritten. So take a deep breath, because you know that this can be rewritten, which is, to me, is the very, very promising. And I love that we don't have to just stay the same. So Neville Goddard, in his book, Feeling is a Secret, I want to go back to that subconscious thing because I want you to understand this. So when you understand this, you understand that how you can change, right? In his book, Feeling is a Secret, what he said was and I'm going to read this because I had it written down somewhere. The subconscious accepts the feeling and difficulties and obstacles as your request. So if it accepts it as your request, then you can put in a different request. That's how I look at it. It accepts it as your request and proceeds to grant you your request. And so what you see in your outer world is just your mind saying, honey, I'm giving you what you requested. That to me is good news. Because just like when you go to a restaurant you can now start requesting something different. If this makes sense to you, please drop a thumbs up or a hand clap or something. Because if you can, if it can, that can be implanted, it can be replanted, right? If you can, it's just like weeds. If you can implant it, you can replant it. So I hope that I know that I'm not alone in this situation, and in anything that I experience. You see, I have friends, I have clients who's also opened up about these frustrations, this propensity to, but it is a human condition. This propensity to be in this loop, this loose loop circle of delays and obstacles, and seeing it as you can't get over it. We're not alone, and I'm glad I'm not alone. It's a human experience that we all have in common. But that doesn't mean, as I said, that it has to be your normal. It doesn't have to be your normal, it doesn't have to be my normal. I think seriously that we deserve to be empowered to know that we can overcome our obstacles, and we can definitely overcome those negative thoughts that we have in our mind by replacing with positive. Now, replacing positive thoughts, I am sure you have heard that before. Oh, you just have to think positive. It's not really just about thinking positive. It is about rewriting the program, and there are ways that you can do that. And while it is scary to think that some of the conditions in your life, some of the results that you have in your life, some of the things that you see, that it actually came from your thinking, I want you to know again that you're quite capable of changing it. But as I said, it's going to take some work. It's not going to be easy, because if it was so easy just to think positive and everything would change, then we would all be hunky-dory, right? Because I'm sure that some of you had gone through, oh, I'm going to think positive and stuff like that. And, we all read that and we all feel good about it. But, sometimes it takes more than that. So I am going to give you a few things that you can actually use today, to start using today, to help you with this thinking and how to to try to start getting out of this loop that we talked about. It's well worth, I'm telling you, it is well worth the effort, to use these tools to whatever you might be facing, both for now and for in the future. It's because you need to know that you can get out of this. If you can flip the thinking, but you have a process in which to flip the thinking, I think it's much better than just saying, oh, just think positive. So what are the things that you can do right now, starting today, starting right now, to get to start reprogramming your mind, as I said, reprinting? The first thing I want you to think about is get out of your own head. Get out of your own head. When you start getting into this negative thinking loop, or you start coming up against obstacles and you start feeling that resistance, do something else. It's not about positive thinking. I'm not saying change your negative thoughts to positive. Do something else. If you can, at that moment, actually do something else, like stop whatever you're doing, because that is what, you're in that process, and do something else. Another thing that you want to do is to avoid comparison. Get out of your head, avoid that comparison. And as women, man, we are so good at that, comparing ourselves against each other, right? We do that all the time. It's really, I want to say, it's an awful trap that we fall into. Because whilst you're comparing yourself to her, she's comparing herself to somebody else, and she's comparing herself to, she might be even comparing herself to you, right? There's no way we can win doing this. We compare ourselves, and then we get into the highs and lows, and this social media world is not helping. We feel like we're perpetually failing. We badger ourselves over and over again, inability to be successful. I can't do this. I can't do. Look at her. She's dominating. Her company is growing faster. We feel deflated when our kids are a hot mess and somebody's over here posting this poster child kid and showing up like a boss or with a pristine kids, they're all groomed, well behaved, and here you are, your kids are acting the fool, right? People are showing you their fancy sneakers and what they're doing every Saturday morning, and all of these things that hit us every hour of every day. You here just want to lose 5 pounds, and I post about my weight loss, but I don't do it to belittle anybody, because I understand the struggle, and then you start thinking, you're already feeling depressed about your life. Why does this have to come up now? Now you're comparing yourself. Yeah. Now we're holding ourselves back because, we get nowhere. I know my pastor used to always say in Florida, he used to always say, play in your own position, because he was a football player, and stay in your lane. Be proud. Just be proud of who you are. You have a lot to bring to the table, so be proud of who you are. Right? Remember that. Remember, you can't be anybody else. You have to be you. And everyone started out somewhere. Everyone was new at one time. And it is kind of good that we're not all in the same place, because the world has to be blessed with that diversity. Because if we're all in the same place, I can't help you, you can't help me. You might know something more than I do, so you can help me. I may know something more than you do, so I can help you. We can't all be in the same place. So I want to encourage you, as much as possible, start today. Avoid comparing yourself to other people. Right? The second thing you can do is to recognize those negative thought patterns. And that would require you actually paying attention to what you think. And this, my friend, is the important part. Right? Because when you start monitoring your thinking, you will see how, comparing to the positive thoughts that you have of yourself, the negative thoughts that you have. And then when you start comparing, looking at your thinking, you start watching other people. Because when you watch other people, you will realize that some of the things people do and say, they are not thinking. Because if they were thinking, they would never do it. Even in your own life, sometimes things happen and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, why would I even do that? Right? Because it was something that's already in your mind. You weren't thinking. You weren't monitoring your thoughts. So when you start thinking the negative and you start monitoring, you understand now, when you really pay attention, you will recognize that there's the same script that's been running over and over and over and over. Now, it may not look the same, or it may not sound the same always, but when you look at them, it's the same script over and over and over again, making you feel depleted, making you feel stressed, that you don't deserve your purpose, right? Fill your mind and your body. And this causes, it's a process. And this is where I'm not a psychology person, but I understand some medical practices, right? You see, because when you start thinking about you getting stressful, and it causes you to not understand what's going on, right? So then you fear, doubt, and worry comes in, right? Fear, doubt, and worry comes in. And what that leads? It leads to anxiety. And anxiety leads to dis-ease. Break that word up. Dis-ease. If something is bothering you, you want to go after something and there's an obstacle in your way, and you are having anxiety and fear and doubt and worry, the flip side to that is to go get the knowledge to how you can change it. Even if you ask yourself a question, who can I turn to help me fix this? Right? So because what that does, it takes away that fear, doubt, and worry, that's anxiety. Because that, my friends, I am telling you, can lead to a whole bunch of diseases. Dis-ease within you, high blood pressure, living fat, I know, right? Upset stomach, nausea, rapid heartbeat. Those diseases is because of fear, doubt, worry, stress. Okay. So when you get into that, and you know, here's how you sometimes recognize that you're in that thing. You apologize for everything. I have this friend, she used to apologize for everything. I'm like, why are you sorry? Like, I don't understand why you're saying you're sorry about something that is a normal thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. You know what? You don't have to be sorry. You can just move on and remove that, get off of that negative path in your mind, and allow yourself to know that as part of life, there is going to be failure. There's going to be some things that you may not be the best at, you know, and understand, don't let those things dominate you. Get that constructive feedback if you need to, but don't let it dominate you. When you get the constructive feedback, take it, lift your head up, and move on, right? Change your body language, change your way how you communicate. You will exude that confidence. So a good place to start improving, to get over these obstacles and barriers, and is to watch and monitor your negative thinking, right? One way you can do is, as you start monitoring them, start writing them out. Write them out. Like, okay, today I thought this, today I thought that, and see how much negatives you get before you get to a positive. You're going to realize that you actually getting yourself in like quicksand, right? You struggling. You're right. But then when you start addressing those things, when you start replacing them with positive, you bring hope. You bring a little bit more peace. You go get the knowledge. So you remove them from anxiety to happiness, to happiness with yourself. You're not looking for other people, because now you're working from the inside. So, and one last thing I want to talk about is addressing what is actually causing you to face these obstacles, this discontent with your life. You know, in order to move forward, to live that happier, healthier life, you can't incessantly focus on, you know, what you don't have. Discontent is good, because what discontent is, it doesn't, discontent propels you forward. So instead of saying, oh, it's this or that, I'm grateful. Be grateful. I am grateful for. So you can be grateful and still want more. There is nothing wrong with that. But when you bring gratitude for what you have, you are knowing that you actually well provided for. Like today, I mean, it's something we do every day. But I'm at the gas station today and I'm like, thank you that I'm able to pump gas. Thank you that I'm able to buy food for myself and my dog. Thank you. You know, I thank you. I have it. I thank you though that you have it. You know, this when you incessantly think about what you don't have, the discontent with your life, again, you get into that negative loop. You get into that negative thinking, right? I know that seems obvious. And some people say, well, that's obvious, Michelle. You know, this kind of thinking leads down the bad path, yada, 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 yada. But it is your path, and you don't really want to live there all the time. So when you focus your energy, you focus all your energy on that. You want to know, why am I so tired? How many times, I've said in the past, I don't know why I'm so tired. Listen, guys, thinking, negative thinking and not having good, that getting into this loop, it may not be, you may not be physically doing stuff, but I really think sometimes that mental thinking can get you more tired. Mental workouts, negative mental thinking and negative thought patterns and going over and over and over again is more physically exhausting than if you do 5 hours of workout. Seriously. Your body feels so tired with negative thinking. Turn your focus to gratitude. What do you have right now to be grateful for? I talked about this before, and I want to encourage you to do it. And when I talked about, real quick, one thing, it helps you gain the confidence that you need, for one. The other thing is, if you are stuck in this negative thinking loop, what I would like you to try, and I've done this many times, is go about doing a gratitude blitz in your house. So basically, run around the house. People won't think you're crazy. Run around the house and say thank you for all the wonderful things that you have. Thank you for my coffee maker. Thank you for my coffee. Thank you for my refrigerator. Thank you for my washer dryer. Do a gratitude blitz. It is so much fun when you do that. It's just me and Scotty, my dog. But when I've done it in the past, he is thinking it's a game. He is running, he's jumping. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? And the last thing that I want to just touch on, when you do all of this stuff, you actually gain confidence. So when you gain confidence that you can actually get out of this negative loop, when you shed those negative thoughts, you look at your goals and you with a different intention, you gain that confidence that will propel you to move forward. So I hope that this made plenty of sense. If, again,